Welcome everyone to another installment of AI Jumpstart. Today we're going to be talking about AI workforce for verticals, how to build and deploy AI workforce packages at scale. How's everybody doing today? Can I get some thumbs up or thumbs down? You know, you're allowed to bring whatever energy you want. How's everybody feeling? I'm seeing more ups than downs. That's great. Okay. Fantastic. You probably feel better now that I'm not slandering the Beatles. Not that the Monkees don't have their own charm. I digress. Awesome. So, as always, I am Nathan Yaworski, one of your friendly neighborhood customer success managers, and I'm joined today in the Q&A section by Lily Yip, my colleague and partner in crime. We are happy to see all of you here today. You've done this before, but we'll go over it just in case there's anyone new in the audience. We are recording these sessions, so if you need to watch them back, please feel free to check out our previous sessions here at our AI Jumpstart playlist. If you have any questions, we will be having a live Q&A following the general presentation, so please pop those questions as we go in the Q&A section. Should see that on the right hand of your screen. And then we'll address them as the time, when the time comes. And of course, these and all of our past webinars can be viewed on our Vendasta content library. So don't be shy about checking those things out as well. Thank you so much. So today we're talking about how to package AI solutions based on verticals. And this may be old news to some folks who've been in the business for a while, but I don't want to assume. Some of us may be newer than others, and you might be asking, well, what exactly does that mean? Vertical selling. What is a vertical? So a vertical is a specific industry or a market segment that a company targets with its products or services. So think healthcare as a vertical, or financial services, or legal, education, retail, manufacturing, home services, that kind of stuff. So being vertical specific means tailoring your offering to the language and the challenges and the specific use cases of one particular industry. So for example, providing a case study written specifically for roofers instead of a case study for small businesses. So why would it be important, do you think, to choose a specific vertical? I've got a few great reasons for you right here. We're going to dive into them. First and foremost, with deeper expertise comes faster trust. So an agency is going to quickly learn whatever your chosen industry specific pain points and terminology and best practices, and that's going to help. Building that shorthand is going to help build credibility with your new prospects. They will be able to see that they're working with an agency that understands their problems, understands their industry, their needs. Next, you come up with these reusable playbooks. In working with this industry more and more, you build strategies and ad creative and reporting templates and whatever else you can think of that can be refined specifically for that vertical and reused across clients. So you're saving yourself work down the line by leaning into one or maybe two specific verticals rather than trying to shoot to everybody under the sun. It also gives you sharp, more memorable positionings. By saying, we help plumbing companies get more calls, that's going to help you stand out more than a generic, we help any small business. It makes your marketing, your sales a lot easier. For your clients, it's also a perceived lower risk. Your prospects are going to trust a specialist who already understands that industry over a generalist who might need to learn on the job. So this is going to help support that premium pricing. Why are you paying for me? Because I get it. I understand what HVAC installers run into and need. Rather than just saying, yeah, I'm a marketing agency. That's why you should pay premium pricing for me. And then finally, that vertical specific mindset is going to help you build a stronger referral network. If you do a good job with one client, that could lead to other introductions. And businesses within an industry, they know each other. They interact with each other. And so it's a good idea if you can build that credibility with one, because that word of mouth spreads very quickly, more quickly than if you're working in all different industries. So here's time for a little poll. I want to get a sense of where everybody's at. So Lily, if you could pop that up to the stage here. Show on stage. There you go. So have you, for your business, chosen to focus on a specific vertical? So we've got, yes, I have chosen one specific vertical. We've got, I'm working on 2 or 3 different verticals. We've got, no, I'm going to sell to everybody. And I do have a few responses, it looks like, or at least one that says, I want to choose a vertical, but I don't really know where to start. So a lot of variety here. I don't see anyone who's really leaned in on one specific market. I'm seeing quite a few for 2 or 3, and that's fine too. You know, if you've got multiple interests and multiple experience with different groups, that can help widen your reach as far as what sorts of customers you can work with. And no shade at all to those of you who are being kind of jack of all trades. You can sell to anyone and everyone. That's absolutely, that horizontal selling is a strategy that's worked well for many agencies as well. What I find for myself, I'll give you a little background. When I was, this is a little different than your guys, but when I was a real estate agent, I was licensed to practice real estate all across the board: residential, commercial, farm, et cetera, et cetera. However, I chose to focus on residential for a few specific reasons that I'll go into in the next slide here. But thank you so much. We can close that poll. So how do you go about choosing your vertical, choosing where you want to go? Now, first, it's a good idea to leverage your existing experience or your relationships. So if you have past work history, personal connections, or even just a genuine familiarity with an industry, that's going to be a huge head start on both your credibility and your networking. For me, as a realtor, I was going into it pretty fresh, but I was of the age that people are starting to think about buying homes. So a lot of my connections were thinking about starting to buy homes. So I had myself a head start on that specific vertical, if you will. Next, you want to target a market that's big enough to scale. Your vertical needs enough businesses in your market to be able to sustain growth for years, and those businesses actually need to be profitable enough to invest in marketing. So if you've got an industry with razor thin margins, or an industry that's shrinking, or it's really heavily regulated in like a hostile way that makes it difficult for them to advertise, or if they're being disrupted by a platform, like think traditional travel agents being disrupted by things like Expedia or any of those other travel disruptors, it's going to be much harder to sell to those sorts of industries, those ones that are dealing with a shrinking industry. No matter how good your work as an agency is, it's going to be harder to sell because their margins are so thin and they're up against a lot of barriers. Next, you're going to want to assess the competitive landscape. So a vertical with no competition at all, that might mean untapped opportunity. Could also mean that nobody's found a way to make it work, but maybe you're the one who's going to, figure it out. However, if you have a vertical that's dominated by like a few large, really entrenched competitors that everybody uses and they've got strong reputations, that can be a little difficult to break into. Not impossible, and especially if you have that specialization or that history in that industry, that can give you an edge over those big companies. It's that personal touch, but it's something to keep in mind. If the vertical you are trying to break into is saturated with competition, you may want to, at the very least, find out what makes you different than that competition and really lean into that. And finally, this is almost for me the most important one, and it's choosing an industry that you're going to stay passionate about. Specializing in a vertical, it's going to mean immersing yourself in that industry for better or for worse. The trade shows, the terminology, the community, building those relationships. And if you find the space you're selling to be genuinely interesting or something that you do have a little bit of a passion for, you're going to have a lot easier time staying motivated and building those authentic relationships. But if you pick a vertical that you don't really care about personally, but it looks really you picked it because it looks profitable on paper. You might make some good money at the beginning, but you're going to find it difficult to sustain that in the long term because you'll lose interest. So that's my advice on how to choose a vertical. Hopefully that helps get your wheels cooking, or wheels turning, and your juices cooking if you hadn't chosen one yet but you were looking to. Now I'm going to take you into the platform now, as we always do, and I'm going to show you, first of all, once you have an idea of what your vertical is, you're going to figure out what that specific industry needs as far as products and solutions. And we're going to go to the Vendasta marketplace. So you've all been here before, I'm sure. This is Partner Center, and we're going to go down to marketplace. Now, if you're starting completely from scratch, you could just go to Discover Products here and search for the products and services you're looking. There's a whole lot of them in here. You can search them by vendor, whether it's a Vendasta product or a third-party vendor or one of our managed solutions. Let me just make this a little bigger for our folks at home. Or if you would like some of that guesswork to be done for you, we can go to the packages section. Now, why do I recommend building in a package? You probably heard me talk about this before. You can sell somebody a single one-off product, like an ads campaign or a Yext listing service, and be done with it. And that's a customer, but it's a customer who's very easily able to pick up stakes and move to somebody else who sells them Yext, who happens to undercut your price, or maybe their cousin just broke into marketing and they sell them Yext. Whereas if you're selling them more than one thing, if you bundled things together, that makes it a lot harder for them to pick up stakes and move to someone else at a similar cost. And also the hassle of moving everything over can be a big barrier for them to ever leave. So you provide stickiness with building out a package as opposed to one-off products here and there. Now, in our marketplace packages section, you're going to see probably a bunch of pre-built packages in there that we have put together for you. The ones I want to focus on right now, this has a lot of old packages in it. You aren't going to see this many. But the ones I want to focus on are under our recommended packages. And you can see these are what we call our AI workforce packages. And we've built these specific things out for different industries here. Now, this is something we spoke about before. It should be familiar to you, but each one is geared towards a specific industry. So this one is really good, designed for real estate agents, insurance brokers, mortgage advisors. This one here is designed for repair shops and dealerships and like the automotive industry. General businesses and startups, this is kind of a more selling to everybody type package. Home services like contractors, plumbers, HVAC, electricians. Personal services like salons or med spas or wellness clinics. And then pet services, groomers and pet boarding and veterinarians. So we've got these built out here. Now, one thing you're going to find out when you click into these packages, the products that we put in here are going to look pretty much the same. Now, that's not to say every industry needs the exact same products, but we find that these products are useful kind of across the board. You can feel free to take or leave our suggestions here, but what we've got in here is a good mix of products to help them win on all fronts of their digital marketing, like customer journey, so to speak. So we have listing solutions like Local SEO Pro and the Yext Listing Sync Pro and Citation Builder add-ons to help boost their findability online. Make sure that wherever clients or AI crawlers are looking, they are finding accurate, up-to-date, and consistent information. We have things like Reputation AI Premium, which not only pulls in reviews from online sources such as Google or Yelp or whatnot, but it will allow the AI to respond to those reviews on their behalf if they don't have the time to do it. We've got social AI, which at the different levels can be as manual or as automated as you want as well. The AI can draft social posts, or you can use AI to help you draft them if you want to have a hand on the tiller. All this to say, we've got kind of a lot of the top solutions in here. These are very hands-off packages in a lot of ways, where the AI is going to handle their lead capture. The AI is going to handle their reputation management and their social posting. However, if you are wanting to build out your packages a little more in a tiered fashion, maybe like a do-it-yourself, a do-it-with-me, and a do-it-for-me, a good, better, best. You could provide basic dashboards, like instead of Reputation AI Premium, where the AI is doing the work, you could do Reputation AI Pro, where they can take a hand in creating those responses with the help of AI, rather than just turning it over to the AI. And then on a higher tier, you would maybe upgrade to that premium level so that it takes that off the client's plate altogether. Now, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds of these products here. You all should be fairly familiar with them. And if you're not, we do have some very good videos of previous webinars where we have talked about a lot of these. Lily, if you want to toss that link up there, just in case they missed it for our Jumpstart playlist, you should be able to find most of those products covered in a previous session. What I want to focus on is the actual marketing that's built, or that we built for you around these verticals. So for instance, agents and broker businesses, these are all the products, but how are you going to position them? And we've written out industry-specific verbiage that you can use in your sales tracks or on your website or whatever else you want to use, built right into here. So in real estate, speed and trust close deals. You're speaking the language of an agency broker or a real estate agent. You're not just saying, in business. You're speaking to them. Half of real estate leads go unanswered. Prospects will choose the first agent who responds, making instant follow-up that revenue driver. So it's really finding the problem of that business, that small business, that real estate agent, and saying, this is going to help with that. This is going to help ease that pain. Then it goes through what's in the package. So this builds out why you would want an AI receptionist as a real estate agency. Here is your problem. Here is your solution. And then we've got resources as well. Part of the value of this is we've done a lot of the work for customizing your agents, your AI agents specific to the industry. So if we click on suggested prompt for AI purpose and capabilities, that's going to bring us to our business app documentation here in our AI workforce, AI chat receptionist section, and we've got example role prompts by business types. I'm going to drop this link. Oh, there is a chat. Yes, sorry. Of course there's a chat. I just never go in here. If you want to take a look at this page, check out the link I've dropped in the chat there, because you can switch between to get a completely built prompt for home services, automotive services, pet services, personal services, agents and brokers, or just general business. Now, one of your questions is most likely going to be, well, none of those are my niche. What about my vertical? Have you built it out for my vertical? Short answer is we haven't built it out for every single vertical. But what I recommend you do is to take, say, the general business prompt here, feed it into the large language model of your choice, be it Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, and say, can you take this prompt and really tailor it specifically towards this industry? Specifically towards lawyers, or specifically towards chartered accountants, or what have you. And AI will do a fairly good job of giving you a similar prompt to this, but with built-in language specific to the industry that you are reaching out towards. And you can see we've done that here for these ones specifically. And there's not a ton of changes, but for pet services, asking questions about what type of pet, what service they're interested in, the timing or urgency of their service needs, or if they're home services, what type of property are we looking at, and what service do we want, and how urgent it is. So it's a lot of the same stuff, but it's the framing of it that makes it really valuable. If somebody goes to talk to a plumber's chatbot, and their plumber's chatbot is getting their name and their address and their phone number and saying someone will reach out, that doesn't instill a lot of confidence. Whereas a prompt like this is going to help that chatbot look like it's a professional member of a professional plumbing team or a roofing team or what have you, and ask the right questions that are going to be relevant for your or that business's sales team or service providers to have going into it. You can see also on here, again, we've got a page like this for each of our things here, how to get started, social marketing, what problem does that solve for agents and brokers? Local SEO Pro, what problem does that solve for agencies and brokers? So you can see this and utilize it in your own talk tracks to sell specifically your service, your products, and show your clients in your chosen vertical how your services are going to ease their pain, how they're going to solve their problems. Now, if you want to, come here. If you want to have this edited, I'm just trying to see. I thought there was a way to edit these once you, I think you have to make a copy of them. Once I make a copy of this, let me just see there. Because you should be able to also edit that marketing material if you want to have it look the same, but just to be around. So I'm going to say add to store, which we already have. So I'm going to go to one that we've added here. So here we go. So under our marketing material, now I can edit all of this. So if I don't want to talk about real estate, where did it go? It's taking a minute to load. If I don't want to talk about real estate, I want to talk about gyms. That's a bad grammar there. Don't hire me for your marketing here. But you can change any of the language on this as well. So this here just kind of exists for you to use, but it also exists in the public facing store. So if you publish the package, once it's been published, you go to Manage Store and go to Public Store. You can click on this URL. It'll take you to that public facing store where all the packages that you've shown up or you've published are going to show up here. Most of the packages aren't published, but anyway, you click into here and you'll be able to see this. This also exists in Business App as well. So for your existing clients, they'll be able to see under the Store tab the packages you have on offer. So if they've got a lower level and they're maybe wanting to upgrade, they can see what's out there and what options are there. All right. The other thing I wanted to mention today, you may be wondering, how once I built out these packages, how do I know how to price them out? And I've got good news for you because I'm not going to go into it today, but next week we have Andrew Barkley going to be telling us about pricing out these packages, positioning them, how to be competitive when you're building these out, and strategies and how to price them. So I'll leave that as a little teaser. So if you're wondering, how do I price them? That's going to be coming next week, so stay tuned for that. The other thing I did want to show you, let's say you've got stuff that you specialize in, that these Vendasta products are great. I'm going to sell some of them. I'm going to sell a lot of the AI tools or whatever, but I'm going to also want to, maybe I do design work. Maybe I do business card generation or something like that. How can I package that? It doesn't exist in your marketplace. Well, very good news for you. If you click down here under our marketplace and go Open Vendor Center, that's going to take you to where you can create your own products and services. So for instance, if I make really great business cards and it's a product, or you could do a service, if it was like a consulting hour or something like that, you can build that in here as well. But I make business cards and I'll say 500. And then I put in my logos, I put in a little description, and then I could go in and set all my pricing, all my marketing. So, this is going to be a fixed price. The retail price is going to be $100, and it's a month. It's going to be a one-time because they're going to get their business cards. I'd save that. And then up here, I can build out marketing material around that as well. If I wanted to have frequently asked questions or images or videos to brag about my product and service, I could have them in here living in that store, in that package page as well. And then you could build add-ons as well. So if you had like, he wanted another 100 business cards in addition to the 500 that I was making, I could create an add-on for an additional 100. And then once they're published, they will then show up in your product list over here. only for you, obviously. When you create a product, it's not going to go into the general marketplace where anybody, any Vendasta partner could order it for their clients. It's just for you and yours, and then you can build those into your packages as well. All right, now we are just about through everything I wanted to cover today. So it's a bit of a quicker one. So let's hop now into our Q&A. And I'm happy to answer any questions that I'm able here. Do you want me to just read them out? Should be in the overlays now. Yeah, you added it to the overlays, but now you go to the overlay screen. Here. There we go. And then they should be in there. All right. All right, let me just make my screen a little bigger here. How would I use the framework already used in the package, but partially make it look like one of the pre-built ones? Oh, do you mean like the marketing? Okay. Yeah, you're muted, Lily, so I can't hear you.
Kara is coming in to ask this question when you're showing forth the recommended packages. So how can she basically use some of the framework from the recommended packages to apply to her own package, especially the creative?
Right. So as I mentioned, when we come into our, share this tab instead. When we come into our recommended package, first you have to add to your store. So that's one thing you have to do, which I didn't show. So we'll go recommended packages. I'm going to click add to store for this auto dealers one. And I'm just going to say copy, just so I know it's a copy. So that has now, it won't let you edit any of the details in here, but now that I've added a copy to my store, I can then, this isn't the same one, but that's fine. I can then come in here and look down at this marketing material. And then I think there is I think you just click on it actually. Let me just see. I'll double click and that's going to open up the text editor. Oh, come here, where I can come in and make changes to what is here. So if I didn't want to call it Conversations AI Premium here, if I wanted to call it like Super Chat Agent, I could make that change. If you don't like the little pictures and images, you can insert your own using the toolbar here. It is a little on the simple side here, so I wouldn't suggest straying too far from the layout that we've used here, just because you may find that the tools up here are not quite as robust to make full giant changes. However, if you like what is in here, but you want to really make it your own, in like a presentation deck or something, what I'd recommend there is creating it in wherever you're creating it, Canva or whatever else, and just copying and pasting. You are more than free to copy, paste, and edit any of this stuff that's in here as well. But if you want to just use it as it's built here, you can do basic edits to the text and the other items as well. So I hope that answers your question there. All right, what do we have next? Could you build a package and add add-ons? I've not been able to see where the add-ons show client-facing. So that is one of the limitations of our public store, is when you are adding packages, they will by default come into the public store, and you can categorize them here. However, if you want to have add-on packages or add-on products in your store as well, you can go into, let's say, we wanted to add CRM AI as a standalone product that you can do an add-on. You click on the product itself, and on this overview page, you can see this little checkbox here, and right now it's on yes. So it's been added to the, if I click on it, it's been added to the store. So now CRM AI is its own item in your store. The downside to that is there's not a good way, or not a way at all, to categorize the products in an easy way, like there is with the packages. So what I mean by that is, if we come into manage store and we go to categories, you can see you can sort your packages by whether it's an advertising package or a reputation package or a website package. But for single products, they will only ever show up in this all category, and it's going to show it up in alphabetical order. So it doesn't look the greatest. So it can be done if you want to have those showing up in the store. It just doesn't look as good as when you are showing packages rather than individual products. It just gets quite overloaded if you're adding all your packages as add-ons. Now that said, you can always position this initial step, this first step, as a package in of itself, and then down the sales line, once they're getting closer to the deal, they say, yeah, okay, I like most of what's in that package, but for myself, I want everything there, but I also want the premium version of social, because the premium version is not included in that package. What you can do then is, at the time of order, you can activate that add-on as a separate line item, and do it that way. Just have the conversation and then have the order customized. But short answer is, in the store, there's not a great way to show individual products unless you're fine with them just all being in alphabetical order in the all section, which is, I find, a little messy. Great question. All right, Jason asks, if I publish a package, will the pricing auto-update if you change your prices? What about as products update? Do we get updates, or do we have to keep an eye on it? That is a very good question. I can answer part of it, and then I'll maybe check with the group here. So if you are publishing a package, if you change your prices, the package price won't automatically update. However, if you do it the other way, which is how I usually recommend doing it, rather than changing your prices on the product level individually, putting them all into a package and then changing the price of the package itself. So if we change this here, for instance, we got AI Business App Pro, and we want to change the price to, I think maybe this isn't enough. I'm charging. I'm going to do $550. I'm going to make that there, and that will then update the price of the whole package. And if you're selling as a package, by default, they're not going to see these individual line items showing that you've marked up all of these. By default, it will just have contents and prices hidden. You can edit that at the time of order if you want to have some of those line items showing. So that answers part of your question. So if this package is published and I go change the price for Reputation AI Premium, it's not going to change the price of the package automatically. But if you change the price of the package, it will change like the retail pricing of those guys there, so you can see how much you're charging. Generally, I find if you are selling as packages, unless you're going to be selling individual products as add-ons, you don't need to go in here and change those product prices. You can just change them at the package level, but it's really up to you how much fiddly work you want to be doing in the back end of the platform. Now, as products update, if all of a sudden there's an update to the wholesale cost of something, I don't actually know what that looks like. I'm wondering if Rashida or Lily or Andrew has any kind of extra knowledge that I don't have.
Not specifically to this question, so we'll certainly take that away. Hi, everyone. Rashida here. With respect to when new products, like new additions and new versions of any of our existing stack are released, there is ample notification about that. I'm sure you all got lots of emails and material from us with respect to the launch of Social AI Premium. However, if products, the wholesale cost itself within respect to our marketplace does change, typically that doesn't change during the term of your current plan. If we were launching a large scale or company-wide pricing change, there would be notice on that. But again, obviously any change in subscription or expiry of discounts would be taken into account and be on the account level. But we'll take this back to our product team to get a definitive answer as to what communication goes out with respect to just standard run-of-the-mill pricing adjustments.
Perfect. Thanks, Rashida. we did speak about getting notice when there are changes or updates or new products. I always like to point this little badge up here, our new releases. If you open that up, that gives you kind of the latest updates. And then if you click see all changes, that takes you to our wonderful change log, as well as our feedback, which I always like to talk about. If you ever have feedback on how we can make the platform better, this is your way to get right in the developer's ear. And you can upvote other people's, like, oh, I think having an official Vendasta MCP would be great. I'm going to upvote that. And you can come in here and upvote all your favorite ideas, and that's going to help our developers make decisions in what changes they're going to make in other iterations of the platform. But yes, thank you for your question. I'm sorry we don't have a more definitive answer for you, but we will take it back to our product team and see what we can find out, and hopefully send that out afterwards. All right. How do I add a one-time setup fee to a package? Great question, because sometimes, and I was going to mention this and I completely forgot, sometimes it is a little bit of work. Like there's not very many solutions in this world that are completely turnkey. There is some setup that needs to be done. And if you're going to be doing that, you definitely want to be charging that setup fee. So if we click on our retail price here on the right, where we have edit total, we can add a setup fee right here. So let's say I'm going to say it's a $150 setup fee because I'm doing all the work to get your platform ready for you. Now it's going to pop it in here. There we go. Now, one little weird hiccup that I've seen is it always seems to put the setup fee and attach it to the first product as opposed to attaching it to the whole package. That is something I have raised with our marketplace team as something that could be fixed a little bit better, because the way it looks right now, it does look like Reputation AI is the whole setup fee. But just be sure to, when you're adding these in, position it with your clients. This setup fee is for the whole package, not just for Reputation AI Premium. So a little heads up about that. But that's easy enough to add there. And if you haven't added it to the general package and you just want to add it at the time of order, you can also do that on your sales order form. So let's say maybe most of your clients won't need that extra setup, but you got one client who specifically needs a lot of help. You can, at the time of that sales order, which we have talked about in previous sessions, how to do a sales order, you can add that setup fee at that time to that specific customer's activation. Great question. All right, Shane, so add-ons show up in the store or not? I created a package, but I never see the upgrade options in the add-on. So add-ons show up as single products in the store if you have added them on the way that I showed you here, Shane. So if we go to products, CRMAI, for instance, as long as you've got this box checked on the add-on, it will show up as a single product on that page. It's not going to show up as an add-on to the package. It's just its own product. Sorry for the confusion.
Okay, that's the last question that we have for today.
All right. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us today. As always, we have more content coming your way. First off, up next this week, we have our sales and strategy with Vendasta. I was going to say podcast. It's not a podcast. It's a webinar. And this week, we've got Jeff Leibel returning. He's going to be talking business app top to bottom. And he's going to talk about how he sells it as an agency, not just as a vendor. So that's going to be one not to miss. Can you throw up the registration link, just in case any of our folks here do not have that? It should be in there already. Let me just see. Yeah, there it is. Sales and strategy with Vendasta. So register for that if you haven't already. And then, of course, as I alluded to, next week, we're going to be diving back into the packaging and of your AI workforce. And we're going to be focusing more on pricing your workforce. So if you haven't registered for next week or the whole series, you can register here. But this is going to be Andrew taking us through pricing out your AI workforce to build those service packages that sell themselves. In the meantime, I remain your faithful customer success manager, Nathan Yaworski. It has been a pleasure, and please join us next week as well as on Thursday for Sales and Success. And don't be a stranger.